Fourth, Ali Khan, the far outside fifth. Found Money sixth. Sunny Key seventh. Ombro Ferrari trails the field eighth. Around the turn, moving towards the backstretch, Ali Khan is off stride. Crimson in front by 2.5 lengths. Mike's Baby second. Keep It Up, the outside third. Q-Light only inside fourth. Gap of 2.5 lengths. Found Money fifth. 4 lengths back to Sunny Key sixth. Ombro Ferrari seventh. And far back to Ali Khan trailing the field eighth. Quarter time is 29 seconds flat. The paddock turn the first time. Keep It Up takes over the lead by a length. Crimson back to second. Mike's Baby third. Q-Light fourth. Gap of 3 lengths. Found Money fifth. Sunny Key sixth. Ombro Ferrari seventh. Far back to Ali Khan trailing the field eighth. As they come by the stands the first time, Keep It Up maintains a length advantage. Crimson second. Gap of 2 lengths. Mike's Baby third. Q-Light fourth. 2.5 lengths back to Found Money, the outside fifth. Sunny Key on the rim sixth. Ombro Ferrari only inside seventh. Halftime is 59-1. Around the clubhouse turn the final time. Keep It Up leads by 3 parts of a length. Mike's Baby alongside second, a challenge to get the lead. Around the turn, moving towards the backstretch, Mike's Baby leads by 3 parts of a length. Keep It Up on the rail second, with Q-Light alongside third. Crimson on the rail fourth. Found Money up on the outside fifth. Gap of 3 lengths. Sunny Key sixth. Ombro Ferrari seventh. Approaching the 3/4 pole, Mike's Baby still in front by 3 parts of a length. Keep It Up on the rail second. Q-Light the far outside third. 3 of them across the track. 3/4, 129-3. Around the far turn, Mike's Baby in front by a half length. Keep It Up on the rail second. Crimson is fallen, unseated the driver. Sunny Key is fallen, unseated the driver. Approaching the head of the stretch, Keep It Up on the inside. Mike's Baby on the outside, head and head for the lead with Q-Light third. Coming through the stretch, Keep It Up on the inside. Mike's Baby on the outside, battle for the lead. Keep It Up in front, Mike's Baby second. Keep It Up in front by 2. Keep It Up in front.
And that's the accident at Yonkers. We will show you just a portion of that race in slow motion so you can see exactly what happened. What happened was the horse that was sitting fourth between horses past the 3/4 pole stuck the right front foot into the arch of the horse that was on the outside. Those two went down. Billy Haughton, you can see him pull on the lines and try and miss the accident. He could not do that. His horse went up on top of the other 2 horses that were down on the racetrack, thus kind of whipping the sulky in a quick motion around, actually going in front of the horse then, and that motion threw Billy Haughton off of the sulky, and he struck the racetrack with his, I believe, the left shoulder and his head. And we report that the helmet was cracked, and we'll give you one more view of that right now. And we'll just pick up the action down the backside. And as you can see, Billy Haughton sitting 6th, and he's out about 2 horse position as they go into the turn. The horse that's sitting 4th between horses will stick the right front foot into the arch of the horse that's 3 wide in the turn. And those horses are actually hooked together at that point, and both go down. Billy had just tipped to the outside to go around the tiring horses at the rail, and the accident will develop. It just shows how quick accidents can happen out there on that racetrack. It's all a matter of inches. Now here you can see, I think, the accident starting. The hoof is caught in the sulky. The horse goes down. Billy jerks the horse to the outside. Horse goes up over the other horses. Now you'll see the sulky just start to whip around towards the front, and Billy was thrown from the sulky seat. The sport of harness racing came to a chilling standstill today with the death of harness racing Hall of Famer William R. Haughton. The young and the old alike who are part of this industry took time today to pause and remember what a generous individual and a great horseman Billy Haughton was. Billy Haughton had many friends within the sport, but there weren't many who were closer to Billy Haughton than Meadows founder Delvin Miller. Miller and Houghton's friendship spanned 4 decades. This afternoon, Delvin Miller recalled that it was the late 1940s when Haughton began developing into a horseman. Over the next 40 years, he would grow into a legend. According to Delvin Miller, Haughton meant every bit as much to harness racing as Arnold Palmer means to golf, or that Babe Ruth meant to baseball. He was the most complete horseman that the sport has ever had. The game will miss him tremendously. He was a wonderful person. We played and worked hard together. It's a sad day for harness racing. Billy Haughton's last victory in his racing career came here at the Meadows on July the 3rd. On that particular evening, Haughton won a stake race. The win was victory number 4,910. 46 hours later, the green and white silks were donned for his final drive. Would you please stand at this time for a few moments of silence to remember Billy Haughton. Tuesday morning, July the 15th, 1986, the sport of harness racing lost one of its leading figures, William R. Haughton. For the past 40 years, he was a leader both on and off the track. His number one quality was that he always had time for fellow horsemen, caretakers, owners, fans, or members of the media who covered the sport of harness racing. His career began and ended in New York. In the early years, he was the king of the half-milers of Roosevelt and Yonkers, winning dash crowns 6 straight years from 1953 through 1958. 12 years he led the sport in money won and recorded 19 $1 million seasons. Currently, he is 4th in wins and 3rd in money won. Through the years, he developed a very close relationship with fellow Hall of Famer Delvin Miller. When Miller started the Adios in 1967, it was Billy Haughton in the winner's circle with Romulus Hanover. In 1968, the Haughton stable made it 2 straight, with by and large winning with George Schulte, as Haughton elected to drive Rum Customer. In 1969, Billy won his 3rd Adios, 2nd as a driver with Laverne Hanover. In 1974, Haughton was again a winner in the Adios with Armbro Omaha, edging out Delvin Miller with Tarport Low. It was at this point in his career that his son Peter started to drive. The great green wave swept harness racing's biggest events one after another. The stable quickly became the largest in the sport. Billy always spoke fondly of his sons as horsemen.
Never did push the boys at all to get in. They've done it on their own, and the way they've taken a hold and the way they work around the barn, not only the driving, but they're very much interested in the training and the taking care of these horses to get them on the racetrack. I know Tommy said to me one time, he said, most of the races are won right in the barn, and that is true.
6 years ago, Bill Haughton's world came tumbling down with the tragic death of Peter in an automobile accident. He won the Hambletonian a few months later with Burgermeister, a horse that had been owned by Peter. With a renewed vigor, Haughton continued on and developed another son to help with the driving chores. In a few short years, Tom Haughton has become a top driver in the sport. Fellow Hall of Famers Howard Meisinger and George Schulte spoke a few years back about Billy Haughton, the horseman.
There's a lot to be said for Billy. I think we all are knowledgeable enough to know what it takes to be a good horseman. But Billy is much more than that. He's got a strong constitution. He's a good businessman, and he can tolerate any type of an owner, which is a big job to do at times. And he drives a good race. As many races he drives, I think he has less contact and less interference than anybody I know. He's a good, clean competitor. And besides that, he's a gentleman.
Has a tremendous constitution and a will. He's dedicated to the horse business. He has a fine eye for a yearling. He's an excellent race driver, tremendous trainer. He is what I call a full-fledged horseman. Billy Haughton is Billy Haughton, and he is the man.
Would Billy Haughton ever slow down from the grueling pace of racing night after night and training every morning?
whole thing is I just enjoy it. I don't know what I could do if I ever quit. I don't know what I'd do because I really enjoy it. It's not really that much work to me.
In 1984, he developed his greatest horse of all time, Annihilator. Haughton named William O'Donnell to drive. This was Billy's way of slowing down. Haughton was great not only in victory, but even more so in defeat. Following Annihilator's loss in the Breeders' Crown to Dragon's Lair, Haughton and his lovely wife, Dottie, attended the ball and spoke highly of Dragon's Lair. The final win in his great career took place here at the Meadows on July the 3rd. He drove a 2-year-old filly trotter, Good Day Love, to victory in a sire stake. The win was number 4,910. His good friend, Delvin Miller, spoke about Haughton and what he will remember.
Well, you know, when you think back, you think of the great things. And, you know, a great artist has one special painting. Like our great friend, Billy's Dick Rees. I've had some of his special paintings, you know. But I'll never forget the last race I saw Billy drive, July the 3rd at the Meadows. He looked for me all day, wanted to come and see my new place. I just moved to a smaller place. And I said, well, come and home with me tonight, Billy. No, he said, I got to go to Meadowlands tomorrow morning and train some. I got a race at Goshen Friday. I got a race at Yonkers Saturday, and I'll see you at the Hall of Fame Sunday. So I went over to the clubhouse and had dinner with a very good friend of mine and watched Billy. I'll never forget it. That was his prize painting of his life. He drove the most perfect race I've ever seen anybody drive, and I'll always remember Billy for this. Some other drivers went over to the quarter with 2-year-old trotting fillies, the first quarter in 28 and 3 or 4. Billy sat back in there. He had to stop watching his head. And when it come up to the finish of the race, the last quarter was in 31 and 3, and Billy won the race by a nose. And now, you know, that will go down with me as one of his masterpieces, and it's like a painting of his life to me. Billy and I never had a cross word of all the time we've raced. We've raced the big races, the Hamiltonian and Messenger and the Brown Jug and everything. And we congratulate each other when we got beat and condole each other when we get beat too. But never had a cross word. He was that kind of a man. As I said here today, Billy was just a complete horseman. He was just a complete everything. My wife and I and Dottie and Billy kind of, you know, we were raised together. Billy's 10 years younger than I am, but we went through life together. And Peter Delvin, named after me, spent 3 or 4 summers with us, and we were close. We're still close, and it's a tragedy for us, but as I said today, life must go on, and I just feel so sorry for Dottie, losing her son, Peter, and now Billy in the prime of his life.
47 hours later, Billy donned the green and white jacket for the final time. It was start number 22,884. Billy Haughton wouldn't want all this attention, but it's the least that we can do to honor this great horseman, husband, father, and friend to all.
The funny thing was, I was born 36 miles from Saratoga, and I used to go to Saratoga with my father, and in those days they raced July and August, 8 weeks, and we never missed a Saturday from the time I was 6 years old till I went to work with horses, and I wanted to be a jockey before I ever fooled with harness horses.
In fact, it was runners that led Billy Haughton to harness horses. He rode races at county fairs in upstate New York in the 30s and 40s, where thoroughbreds shared the cards with trotters. It's a good thing for the sport of harness racing that Bill Haughton was attracted to the trotters and pacers, because he's become one of the most successful and admired figures in the history of the sport. He's still a prominent driver, of course, although he drives considerably fewer than the 600 or 700 races a year he used to. These days, on the Grand Circuit and at the top pari-mutuel tracks, the Billy Haughton stable remains prominent regardless of who's driving. Bill says that at the age of 60, it's time to let younger drivers handle his horses in some big races, although he has no intention of giving up driving. It's too important for a trainer.
It's a big advantage to be able to get up behind a horse and race them and then know how they are, because much of the time they're much different in races than they are just training.
Driving or training, success continues for the stable. The 2-year-old pacer Annihilator is the most exciting young horse to appear in years, and Bill Haughton can enjoy the considerable pleasures of being the trainer and the driver, if he wants to be, of a horse who has the potential to be among the best there's ever been. He also has the even greater satisfaction of sons who have followed him in training and driving and have done it well. 27-year-old Tommy Haughton drives most of the stable's good horses these days and is both successful and respected as a driver. Tommy has faced the double pressures of living up to the standards of a famous father and also of a famous and successful older brother, Peter, who by the age of 25 had driven the winners of more than $6 million, a Kentucky Futurity, a Little Brown Jug, and 2 straight Roosevelt Internationals. Peter's death in a car accident near the Meadowlands in January of 1980 was a devastating personal loss to a close family, but also a terrible loss to the sport that means so much to the family.
They're trotting toward 3/4, racing with the lead as they approach the 3/4-mile mark. Still Neville Impulse.
The Hambletonian later in that year provided one of the most dramatic moments in the history of harness racing when Billy Haughton drove Burgomeister, a horse that Peter had developed and co-owned, to victory.
They turn for home. Between them, Noble Hustle. Down along the rail, Neville Impulse. Coming on the outside, Burgomeister. They race to the wire. Noble Hustle between them, Burgomeister coming on. Racing in the lane, Devil Hanover closing ground also. Between trotters, Burgomeister. Here comes Devil Hanover. On the inside, Noble Hustle trying to fight back. Burgomeister is going to win the 1980 Hambletonian.
Never had any win in a horse race seemed so right, and never had the joy of a racing victory been so mixed with sadness.
I'd just like to say that this did mean an awful lot to us. And I just wish Peter could have been here, because I wouldn't have been doing the driving.
As badly as 1980 had started, there were other high points that year. Tommy won a heat of the same Hambletonian with Final Score, and then got a classic win with the same horse in the Kentucky Futurity. Since then, Tommy has set a world race record with Trenton, and he's currently driving Naughty But Nice, one of the top 3-year-old pacing fillies this season. 24-year-old Cammy is now driving too. This was an easy win for him at Monticello earlier this month. All this brings great satisfaction to Billy.
It makes me very proud. I never have encouraged any of them or pushed any of them into it, because I don't think it's good to ever try to make a child do something that they don't want to do. I don't think you can be successful at being asked to do something that you don't really like. And of course, Peter, from the time he was a baby, that's all he ever wanted to do was train horses. And Cammy came along. He's the youngest one, at about 12, and started grooming horses. And Tommy he was all football till he was 19.
And here comes Speedball now. He makes his move in mid-stretch.
Tommy learned quickly enough that 2 years ago, Billy watched from the stands as Tommy became the youngest driver ever to win a Hambletonian when he guided Speedball to victory, a win that the whole family enjoyed. In spite of the inevitable pressures of living up to a famous name, Tommy says it hasn't been hard to do.
It's real easy because he never puts any pressure on you at all. And it's a great opportunity because I get to drive such good horses. So he makes it a lot easier.
I'm amazed at how well the boys have really stood on their own 2 feet and just handled the pressures beautifully. I'm the one that suffers with the pressures because I hear the pressures from all of them.
Of course, pressure is an unavoidable companion to success, and there's no point in trying for one if you want to avoid the other. The Haughton family has felt the pressure and enjoyed the success, and it's a double tradition that's likely to be continued.